What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. I'm so glad you're back. My name is DK, and I'm the visionary of Burn and the co-founder, in case you didn't know, along with my wife, Morgan Klein. And listen, we have a bunch of different segments on this podcast. This one is called Ask Devan Anything. So we get 3 questions, 30 minutes, and I've got 3 amazing questions for this episode. Thank you for all of you out there who are submitting questions. We are stacked for days with questions, but we're always taking more. We're always taking more because we want to add as much value to you as we possibly can. This segment here, this little half an hour is with me and you going over a few ways to make your life better, take your life to the next level. And I know that you're here and you're ready for that. So let's dive right into this. I'm gonna read the 3 questions first, so that you guys know what we're covering, and then we'll go from there. All right, so Kelly from Oceanside, California comes in with the first question, and she asks, what are the best protein sources? All right, so I'm gonna go deep into that for you and just give you the lay of the land when it comes to the mecca of macronutrients, protein. Number 2 is, what is the difference between Metcon and ACON? And Barbara from Eden Prairie, Minnesota asks that. So Barbara's a member, and she goes to metabolic conditioning workouts and athletic conditioning workouts. And she's like, what's the difference? DK, help me out. Okay, got you. Number 3 comes from Jose from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Shout out to Albuquerque West. How do you do it all is the question. So what are the best sources of protein? What is the difference between Metcon and ACON, and how do you do it all? All right, so we're gonna dive into those 3 questions. Welcome to this episode. Make sure that you hit subscribe and make sure that you're following us on YouTube and all the social media platforms as well, so that we can connect outside of wherever you're at in the world right now, watching this video or listening to this podcast. All right, let's get right into it, and let's talk about protein. All right, what are the best sources of protein to eat? Asks Kelly. All right, Kelly, well, let's start by saying there's 2 types of protein, okay? You have animal protein and you have plant protein. The fundamental difference, which makes, from a scientific standpoint, makes animal protein better than any plant proteins, although don't worry, my vegans and vegetarians, I got your back too. We're gonna talk about why your stuff is important, all right? It's because it has L-leucine in it. It's an amino acid, okay? It's the most important amino acid out of all of the amino acids is L-leucine, and it's the one when you get 2.5 grams of it per day on average, most scientific papers will say, per meal. If you're getting 2.5 per meal, then you are going to maximize what's called protein synthesis, and that's just basically the process in which your body is building muscle. So the higher the leucine protein, the higher the digestibility of that food, and the digestibility plus protein synthesis is going to equal better growth and repair for your muscles, okay? So this is not just like my opinion or something that I just like made up on my little notebook here. This is rooted in science, okay? So now you talk about plant protein on the other side, all right? Plant protein is necessary because I don't want you only eating animal protein. I want you eating animal and plant protein, and we're going to talk about exactly why. But if leucine is something that plants don't have, well, then plants have something that animals don't have, and those are the phytochemicals in plants that are really going to help help drive. They're micronutrients that are going to, and chemicals that are really going to help drive protein synthesis as well. Okay, and so we know that micronutrients. Okay, macronutrients, just to recap, are proteins, fats, and carbs. All right, micronutrients are vitamins and minerals. And we know that when you incorporate vitamins and minerals along with your protein, all right, you're gonna have a better, higher protein synthesis, okay? You're gonna have a better growth and repair for your muscles. This manifests itself in eggs, the category eggs. When you eat just egg whites, okay, your protein synthesis isn't as good as when you're eating whole eggs plus egg whites, right? Because that yolk is what contains all of the micronutrients that are going to help support that protein synthesis. So let's go back to animal protein and let's just talk about the lay of the land there. So you really have as the number one, which is counter to what most people think when it comes to the animal protein, when it comes to leucine content, digestibility, protein synthesis, and this is science, okay? I wouldn't think this. This wouldn't be where my first thought goes, because I'm always a big fan of whole food first. Like, supplements are called supplements because they're supposed to supplement whole foods. But when you go read all the scientific papers, it's saying that the whey protein, okay, with L-leucine in it, the powders are actually what digests the best and what absorb the best out of all foods, okay, the engineered protein. Now, I'm never just gonna have one source. So to me, the hierarchy of proteins in some scientific journals don't really matter all that much, because I'm gonna get whey protein powder every day. Afterburn whey protein powder every single day for me is my go-to. We also have plant as well to get those phytochemicals in, and whatever sits better in your stomach, whatever digests better with you, you're gonna have to kind of explore that. But you look beyond whey protein powder in the animal category, and then you go into lean meats. For me, it's number one is elk. Right? I mean, just do the eye test. You look at an elk versus a cow. One looks like a super athlete. The other one looks like, it's kind of tasty, but it's just kind of also lethargic and mows around and eats grass. And elks sprint through the woods and can leap over trees and can fight bears and stuff. So I'm all about just the practical nature of looking at because I really do believe you're not only what you eat, but you are what you eat eats. Right? You are what you eat eats. And I also like elk, and I'll go to the second lean meat, bison, because those two things, they're not farmed. They're not farmed. There's no big food companies getting their hands on all the elk in the world or all the bison in the world. There's legalities around farming those animals illegally. When beef is the third one, especially grass-fed beef, is less restrictive. Then you go into chicken and turkey, okay? And then that's really, really rounding out for the most part. Although I'm leaving off, we could go for days. But those are the 5 most important lean animal products that you could consume. And like I said, number one being the whey protein powder in terms of its ability to enact protein synthesis on you. Okay, then you're gonna go fish and eggs. Okay, fish and eggs. Eggs to me are a quintessential protein for every diet. All right, and like I said, you wanna try to stay away from egg whites just isolated by themselves, because they don't have any of those micronutrients when you're just isolating the egg white. Now, if you need to get your protein up, what I'll often do in the morning is I'll take 2 scoops of my Afterburn whey protein powder. I'll do 1 chocolate, I'll do 1 vanilla, and then I'm gonna take, and hang with me, this might sound a little nasty, but I promise it's good. You take a little dabble of that egg white, okay, just enough, that liquid egg white in there, and then what I do is eat 3 whole eggs, 5 egg whites, and a half a cup of oatmeal, and that's usually my breakfast in the morning, all right? And that's after a workout, because I'm getting up early at 4:45. First thing in the morning that I want all of you to consider doing, if it's possible for your schedule, is get up and put that training in right away, and then go have a nice big breakfast right after. So there's, if you think, just do the math. If I do 2 scoops of protein, that's 23 grams. And then I'm doing 3 egg whites. I'm doing 5 total egg whites, let's put it that way. So it's 8 times 5. Okay, so now I'm upwards of 80. And I'm doing a little oatmeal. I got like 90 grams roughly in my first meal, like my first meal of the day, okay? And some might argue that's a little much, but I also am a very busy person, and I don't have a lot of time throughout my day to like space out in perfect timing and perfect bodybuilding cadence. Like, I don't have time to space out my meals to where I am scientifically hitting every little single tiny like marker. And I also strongly and largely believe that's so unnecessary for like the common person, right? So you might be able to find some papers out there that talk about the protein absorption rate and things like that. But yeah, true, but how overstated is it? Like, how actually important is it really when most people are going through the fast food line 4 or 5 times a week, and then you're gonna be worried about your protein synthesis and what time you're getting your 2.5 grams of L-leucine in with every meal. You follow what I'm saying? So I appreciate the focus on wanting to dial in, but let's not try to like climb Mount Everest on the first pass, right? Have you ever seen any of the Mount Everest documentaries? They go up and they get acclimated, they come back down. They go up a little bit further, they get acclimated, they come back down. It's one small win at a time until they get all the way to the top on that last acclimation. So, with that being said, Kelly from Oceanside, I just ranted on some animal side, and now I'm going to go quickly to the plant side for all my plant people. All right, we need vegan protein too. Okay, we need vegan protein too. Why? Because it has those essential minerals and vitamins, the phytochemicals that you're not going to get in the lean animal protein. So we got lentils, chickpeas, black beans. You got vegan protein powder. Where's my vegan protein powder in here? Come on with it. Let me go. Let me get you some. All right. Here is vanilla. All right. And it's going to be denoted by this plant, this little green plant-based icon here. And then just let me read to you, okay, what is on the back. It's just so you know. Our vegan plant protein complex is pea protein, pumpkin seed protein, organic sunflower protein, and alfalfa protein. That is a complex. That's a blend. And that is definitely something that I want you to incorporate into your routine. So we need sources from all areas of protein. Don't worry about all the timing. Don't worry about, all of that stuff. Here's what I want you to focus on, okay? At the end of the day, use these sources of protein that I talked about, especially when you're trying to build muscle, especially the animal proteins, okay? Especially the animal proteins, especially elk and whey protein powder and eggs. Those are my top 3. I really want you to diversify the sources of protein, but if you do nothing else from this conversation, Kelly, what I want you to do is I want you to get 100 grams of protein at the very least. All right, then the next level, after we get that small win as we're climbing up the protein Mount Everest, then we're gonna go to your body weight in grams of protein, all right? 1 gram per body pound in protein. And then we're gonna go up from there as you start to build more muscle, all right? Most scientific papers will tell us that you can go all the way up to 2 grams per body pound. And a lot of those studies are done, by the way, they're done without any outliers in body composition. So they're not considering somebody who is 380 pounds, which you should never, if you're 380 pounds or you're in the overweight or obese category, all right, you may want to consider using lean body mass rather than just body mass as a whole. These are generic directions for you. These are seed plants, if you will, Kelly, and the rest of you, to be able to learn more about your food, about your protein, and ultimately about your body and your journey, because here's what I know to be true. After 16,000 camps and millions and millions and millions of camps done at Burn Boot Camp, talking to thousands of our burn trainers, one thing that I do know is almost no one gets the appropriate amount of protein in. Almost no one. But yet everyone wants to talk about the little, most insignificant, overstated scientific nuances that are stopping them from just executing on what I'm talking about. And then it's like, let's just get 100 grams. Let's go there. Let's start there. Let's get 100 grams. All right. So thank you so much for your question. I hope that was helpful. And I don't have any other, and I'm checking my notes here just to make sure I was thorough. Yeah, I don't have anything else there. I mean, it's really, that's a good introduction on the question, what are the best sources of protein to eat? Thank you for your question. All right, how we doing? All right, shake it out after question 1. I felt that went really good. What do you guys think about that? You learned something there. I hope you learned something. And I hope that you're able to write some notes as we're sitting here. I think about this segment with you here on the podcast as a mentorship, as a sit down at you and me, and we get to have a one-on-one conversation about what is going on in your life, all right? What's going on from the protein that you're eating to the workouts that you're doing to just how you feeling, okay? So we're gonna go in that order today. Next, we're gonna move on to the question that comes from Barbara out of Eden Prairie, Minnesota in the Twin Cities. What's up, Barbara? You've been crushing those metabolic conditioning camps and those athletic conditioning camps, because she asked, what is the difference, Devan, between metabolic conditioning and athletic conditioning? Let me break it down. Metabolic conditioning is functional movements with external load. Okay? Functional movements with external load. Athletic conditioning is speed, agility, power, balance. Metabolic conditioning, full body, compound, functional movements. You're adding weights. That's what external load means. You're adding dumbbells. You're adding kettlebells. Athletic conditioning, speed, power, agility, balance. No dumbbells, no kettlebells. We may give you some resistance if you are beast mode and you go through these normal athletic conditioning movements, let's say like ladders. You do ladder drill, you're in, out, in, out, in, out. You're going super fast. You're zooming through it quick. You're on your 7th one and you're still at the same speed. I may, because I observe your athletic ability, I may come over to you. I may strap a band around your waist. I may hold it nice and tight here, and I might then have you go through the ladder because I can add a little bit of external load in athletic conditioning for those athletes that are elite and that have already dominated and made normal the plane movement patterns, the baseline movement patterns. Then I may add some external force, okay? And that's even gonna get into like performance specific training when you start talking about athletic conditioning. You might see this, here's a good example. Parachute training. You ever see somebody with a parachute and they're just sprinting without a parachute and then they're sprinting with one on, and they deploy it and it gives them that extra wind resistance as they try to charge through. What they're trying to do is overload that movement with resistance so they can get faster. So you can also, in the performance specific category in ACON, for those that have been here, done that, been through the ringer, done thousands of workouts, potentially played athletics at an organized level, ACON for you might look different than somebody who's just getting started, okay, where they're not going to have any of that. So that's the major difference between metabolic conditioning and athletic conditioning. You can do a burpee in athletic conditioning, but you also could do a burpee in metabolic conditioning. You would just be doing it with weights. Okay, you'd be doing a weighted burpee. And in Metcon, what we want to do is we want to stay really in one of two places. Okay, one of two places, because we're lifestyle athletes, aren't we? Like I think the reason Barbara is asking this is because she's like, what is my focus on here? Like, as I'm doing these workouts, what should I be focusing on? On Metcon, you're focusing on, this should be the most weight that I can push through these movements, all right, in the strength stabilization phase. The first phase in our training, all right, is stability. Okay, the second is strength stabilization, okay? So this is a really strength stabilization, or if you're somebody who is really elevated and one of those athletes that I'm talking about, then you're going to look at Metcon as being hypertrophy based as well, and quick, high tempo hypertrophy, okay? Let me tell you what those mean really quick. I know those are big words. So there's 5 levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to the optimal performance training model here at Burn. We share the same model that NASM, the National Academy of Sports Medicine, shares. The bottom level is when somebody comes into the gym right away and they might had never worked out before. They have pretty bad form, bad proprioception. They really need somebody to help them, and they need a program that's going to be for beginners, right? We just don't throw people into the fire when they come in their first time. We're personal trainers, right? It's group personal training. That's what has made Burn Bootcamp so successful, is group personal training. And so when you come in, we're going to look at you as an individual through these phases. And the first one is your endurance stabilization phase. That's the technical term for it, your endurance stabilization phase. So if you've never squatted before, I'm not going to just have you do a squat. I'm going to have you do a wall chair. It's a good example. Number 2 is a strength stabilization phase. Now we're getting into this conversation about Metcon. So if you are somebody who just coming into the gym for the first couple times and maybe a couple months into your training, I'm going to put you in this phase where I'm going to say, hey, over 15 reps, okay, beyond 15 reps, lighter weight. Let's just get your body used to the external load. All right, and a lot of times what we'll do is we'll add supersets to this phase 2 so that you hit the same muscle or the same muscle chain in different areas. Then the next level is number 3 is going to be called maximum strength or hypertrophy, okay? maximum strength. Then you have maximum power, and then you have power, okay? And so those 5 levels are very important because hypertrophy is that level where your 15 reps are under, where in Metcon, a lot of our athletes are gonna be, boom, right in that pocket where they are pushing out, 12 to 15 reps with the maximum load that they can possibly push out. All right, if you guys following me on that? So there's 5 levels there, and I might have said one or two of those like slightly wrong. So bear with me. I'm doing it off the top of the dome, but this is the model, and I know the actual phase is practically like the back of my hand that we pull people through. So the only one, just so you know, out of the 5 that we don't really use at Burn Bootcamp is the one right below power. Okay, and that's like the power lifter phase. Okay, that's the phase where it's like you're like maximal strength. You're trying to go for like, 1 to 5 repetitions, and you're really trying to like move the most amount of weight possible. Okay, and then like I said, hypertrophy or maximum muscle gain right below that. That's what hypertrophy stands for. That one is going to put you in a position where your muscles are going to actually hit the best response to grow. All right, and then going back to question 1, get your protein in, and then that growth can be prohibited with the repair that comes from your protein and your nutrition. Think about athlete games. This is my last point on what's the difference between Metcon and ACON. Athlete games has a lot of Metcon workouts in it. Okay, almost all the athlete games are Metcon workouts, and so if you'd like to check those out, our live stream, by the way, from 2022 athlete games is still on our YouTube channel, and you can go over there and you can check it out. I think it's like 26 or 7,000 people watching it live and after the fact. So hopefully, Barbara, that does your question justice, and now you guys all understand what the difference is between metabolic conditioning and athletic conditioning. All right. Man, I just get in these zones and these questions. I love this stuff. I hope you guys are having fun. I have a feeling like a voice inside of my head, like a call to action from the universe to spend more time with you, to teach you some of the things. Like, I didn't always feel this way. Like, I always had made content in the past, but there's something about the 10-year mark for me from starting Burn Bootcamp at 24 years old, and all the things that I've learned over the last decade at 34 years old, and now to have an amazing company with 100,000 plus members and 5,000 teammates. It's like, this is incredible to me. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. I'm overwhelmed with joy and how amazing this has turned out. And now at this stage of my life, I think about this as really like chapter 3. The first stage of my life was San Francisco Giants bound. The young kid who was young and broke and came from nothing and lived on welfare and was scrappy and fought his way through, and whose mom left him and whose dad was in and out of jail and who had to take care of himself since he was 12 years old, and all of the emotional intelligence that I had to build and how I had to become a man before anybody else around me was even a man, and how I would run away from home because that was better than staying at home. Like, all of these things shaped me. And my outlet at those times and during those times was always baseball. It was always my athletic career. That's what kept me going to school, waking myself up on time, getting to school on time, getting good grades. Like, I had nobody checking on my grades. Nobody's checking on my grades. Your boy's out here still getting 3.6s, 3.7s in school. And I hated school. I didn't even like it, but what I loved was athletics, and I loved the idea of making the big leagues and going to play college baseball and going to the big leagues. And for me, that was chapter 1. And then my dreams came crashing down. I was released from the San Francisco Giants in 2011. And then the next chapter of my life began. And I was 23 at the time. I turned 24 shortly after. The next chapter of my life began, and that was the Burn chapter. And that was the chapter when I sat down with Morgan and our Naples franchise partner, a good friend of mine, Holly Strickland, and I was like, y'all, we're doing 500 Burn boot camps. And that was right at the beginning, 24, 25. And we did it. We did it in the next 10 years. We're at 512 today. And I'm so thankful in retrospect and so happy in retrospect, but that 10 years, you guys, was so hard. It was so hard. So if you're trying to build a business or you're trying to go follow your dreams, that's what this podcast is for. And I feel a calling now in chapter 3 to help you get there, to say, I know our business is going to keep growing. Morgan's our CEO. We got an amazing suite of awesome VPs. We have 60 plus people here working at our main office in HQ. HQ has over 300 people total. Shout out to my West Coast HQ people out in Utah. And they're holding the fort down. Like, I've built an actual business. I had a job for the first 5 years of chapter 2, and then the second 5 years of chapter 2, I started to actually realize what the difference between a job and a business was. And now I have a business in chapter 3. I walked into the office as soon as Morgan became CEO, 3 weeks after the transition. I walked in the office what do you guys want me to do now? I don't have a purpose anymore because I have dreams so big that everybody else has taken my purpose and absorbed it into their own heart and their own soul. Now they take it on as their own purpose and their own mission. We take it personal here at Burn Bootcamp, and now that's what makes us unstoppable, right? And so now what I'm trying to help you do is help you become unstoppable. I want you to feel what I feel after 10 years. I want to relay to you the trials, the tribulations, the ups, the downs, the lefts, the rights, the things that I had to go through to get to where I'm at today at 512 locations at 34 years old and just getting started. We are just getting started. So not only can I help you, but I'm also going to be helping myself with you. And that's when I feel like preachers are the best. That's when I feel like motivational speakers are the best. When they've had enough experience to be able to translate that emotional experience to you, but also have enough in front of them and are still hungry and ambitious and motivated, because that's going to rub off on you. And we're going to start doing this together. And that's really what this podcast is for. And I'm not sure that I've done a good job explaining that to you as we've launched it a couple months ago. But like I said, we're here now. You're in November right now. We are locked and loaded, and you're going to keep expecting the Ask Devan Anything episodes, okay? But I got to get to Jose's question from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and he says, how do you do it all? So good segue, right? We're talking about protein today. We're talking about some training today, and then we're also talking about how do you do it all? All right, Jose, I'm going to answer your question, buddy. Are you ready for it, Jose? I don't do it all. And I think that's what stops so many people from just getting started, is thinking you need to do it all. Listen, there are an infinite amount of things to be passionate about. You already know what you're passionate about. You think about it, you feel it. When you do it, it's fun. When you wake up, you think about it. Ask yourself this question: if I could wake up and money wasn't an issue and there's no limitations or consequences, what would I do for work every day? Go, say it now, don't think about it. Whatever that is right now off the top of your head, follow that passion. I don't subscribe to you should try everything, as many things as you could possibly try before you figure out what you're passionate about. Passion is something you're born with. Your gifting is something you're born with. It's inside of you. You don't have enough time in this life, from my perspective, to go spend 10 years dabbling in all of these things to figure out what you like, when you can just go really hard at the one thing that you know. If you could wake up every single day and not make money from it, but still be happy doing it anyway, if you could do that, then you know you're following your dreams. And the cool thing about it is you're never going to be able to do it all, because all of it is too much. Okay, all of it is too much. Our brains, work to focus and eliminate everything else, most of the things that we're not passionate about, so it can illuminate that one pathway for us. And you'll know it. You'll know it when you say it. The other downfall that most people have is they're scared of the judgment that comes from the people who love them in their lives the most. And here's my advice to you. A, don't live the life that other people want you to live. Live your own life. And B, they're actually trying to protect you from failure out of love, because they love you so damn much. So don't hold it against them. Love your parents, love your teachers, love your coaches, love your trainers, but also be careful who you're taking advice from, because you're the only person that can actually be a worthy competitor of you. Think about this. Every other scenario is unfair. because nobody else has the same life experiences that you have. Nobody has the same makeup that you have. They don't have the same parents. They didn't grow up in the same town with the same iniquities, with the same environment, with the same friends. Nobody has the same circumstances you had yesterday. So therefore, the only fair opponent, formidable opponent, is yourself yesterday. It's not anyone else around you. And if you're competing with other people around you, then the person that you're going to try to be like is them. I always say keep blinders on. Do you know why the Kentucky Derby horses wear blinders on their eyes just like this? Come on, you know the answer. You've heard this one before. Why do they wear blinders on their eyes? So they don't look left or they don't look right. Because if they do, they're going to lose a step. And they're not focused on their goal. And when they lose that step and they take their eye off the prize, they lose the race because they were looking at what the other horses were doing. See, if you were competing with yourself, it'd be you with blinders on, trying to get to that finish line faster than you've ever got to that finish line ever. So many people are trying to beat other people to the finish line. And it's ridiculous. We got to stop because nobody is you. Nobody is you. You have that one gifting, that one passion that's inside of you. And you're never, ever, ever, ever going to be able to do it all. You're going to be able to do 0.000000001% of things. And I want all of your energy, all of your attention, all of your focus, all of your ideas, all of your intensity on that 1.000000001. All of your energy funneled to that passion. And I promise you can make a living. I promise you can make a living. My daughter watches this incredible YouTube channel called Mrs. Hands. If you're a parent, you've probably seen Mrs. Hands. It's this lady who has like immaculate hands, the best like manicure that I've ever seen. She has like perfect hands, the world's best hand model. And so she realizes this about herself and she starts taking her hands and teaching kids colors and numbers. And she has this soft, beautiful voice. And she narrates what she's doing. She's painting her finger yellow. Yellow in Espanol es amarillo. And then she'll go to the second finger. Blue es azul. And she'll teach your kids Spanish. This lady has millions and millions and millions and millions and millions, if not billions of views. She's making bank just by painting her fingers different colors on a YouTube channel for children to consume. And the advertisers who want those children and those parents' eyeballs are going to keep loading up Mrs. Hands, okay? And YouTube's going to say, hey, keep making videos, Mrs. Hands, because now you're bringing people, you're attracting people and bringing stickiness to our platform, all right? So this is the power of following your passion. And if you like literally cannot put, so I empathize with some of you younger people out there because some of you right now actually can't answer that question. Jose, I'm not sure how old you are, but if you're 21, I want you to listen up. If you're 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, listen up. You may not know exactly what you're passionate about quite yet, okay? I want you to spend 1 year, not 5, not 10. Like some people are out here like, spend the next decade, you've got years left. Like, no, you don't, okay? You got to get rich in your 20s. You got to get rich from a financial perspective in your 20s. You got to get rich from a relational perspective in your 20s. You got to get rich from an emotional standpoint in your 20s, okay? Your 20s are the time where you need to build. Not a time to sit back and just travel the earth and figure out what you want to do. There's no time to waste, guys. Okay? Urgency needs to be at an all-time high. You have to be patient because nothing happens overnight, but urgency and patience can have a relationship. It's patience when you're looking at the long term, and it's urgency when you wake up today. I'm going to wake up at 4:15, 4 a.m. every morning because I'm urgently chasing after my goals. Then I need to do that for 15 straight years before I'm able to even say that I gave it my best shot. All right? Try it for 1 year. And I want you to go write down 5 things, five things that if you didn't make any money that you'd be happy to wake up and do. Write down 5 things, and then I want you to go find an expert in those 5 things, and I want you to spend 1 quarter each, okay? So maybe 4 or 5 quarters, find 4 or 5 people, find 1 quarter each. I want you to study that person. If you can call them or pick their brain, I want you to call them and pick their brain. I want you to learn from them, and I want you to, after that, pick a direction and go, all right? And you'll know a year in if it's the right direction. Okay? And then pick the second direction and go. By 5 years, you should be having exactly what you want to do for the rest of your life. If it takes you more than 5 years as a young person, my perspective is that you're not getting the right advice. Okay? I wanted to be a big league athlete. I wanted to be under the lights, throwing my nasty little slider, all right, to every hitter I face, just so that I could sneak a fastball every once in a while by someone. All right? Well, here's what happened. I chased that with plan A in mind. No plan B, no plan C. Plan A in mind. When I got released, I made a new plan A, and I made it quickly. And I went right into, I need to go make money. I'm after money. Money's what I actually really want. I went and made money. I went and worked at a Best Buy, a DirecTV. I was slanging TV and direct TV services to people who had just bought like the brand new 60-inch LED TV, and it was one of those things like, hey, well, if you want a Honda, then you're gonna go with this service, but if you want a Ferrari, then you're gonna go with this service. And it put chops on me as a salesperson, but I realized that I didn't like money. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about, like, entrepreneurship wasn't about money. To me, it was just about making sure that I woke up every day liking what I did. And if you don't like what you do, leave. Like, I left. I probably should have gave them 2 weeks. Now that I think about it, it was a young, dumb mistake. I should have gave them 2 weeks, but I just left. I walked away. I said, this is not for me. I'm gone. And I moved on to the next thing. I didn't wait a year. I waited 6 months. I was like making like $6,000 to $8,000 a month. And I'm like, oh, this is more money than I've ever seen in my whole life. And I think I made it till I come home at 9:30 at night and I realize my girlfriend at the time is sleeping, and I don't get to spend any time with her at all. This is not the life that I want to live. I had no plan B at that time either. I was just going to go do that. Climb the chain at Best Buy. Okay, didn't like it, wasn't passionate. Asked myself, would I wake up and would I do this for the rest of my life if I never got paid? Hell no. I'm getting paid and I'm not going to do this. That means I don't like money. Good, found out something about myself. I do like it, don't get me wrong, and I have a good relationship with it, but it's not a primary driver of my motivation. And then I went immediately into fitness. Boom, boom, boom. And as soon as I went from baseball to Best Buy to burn, it was game over. I found it right away. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And then that was at 23 years old. And it wasn't before 27, 28, where I made any type of money at all. In those 3 or 4 years, those were the tough years. Those were the hard years. Those are the years that calcified me, that made me strong and brave and courageous and gave me fortitude to stand up in the face of things like the pandemic, to be able to say, bring on a pandemic. I've never experienced a recession, but yeah, bring on a pandemic. And I will dominate it because I have such confidence and conviction in what I do every day, and I believe so strongly in it, and I'm not gonna ever do anything else now because I found what I love and what I'm passionate about. So I don't do it all. What I do is I teach families in America how demanding training can impact their entire life. I change human beings' lives. That's what I do. Through training, through fitness, through that lens, and then I allow that to be a tool with all these principles that I have to bring in the rest of your life, right? To bring in the rest of your life, because don't we need that daily habit, that daily ritual in our lives that's going to allow us to quote unquote do it all. So I think, Jose, what you really mean is how are you doing it all within the 0.00000000001%. I think that's what you mean, but I had to frame it the right way first. okay? You got to first focus on the opportunity that's in front of you rather than trying to go out and make other opportunities. Here's the fundamental downfall of what I see, what I observe when I look at people as they go chase their dreams. They usually have a layer of built-in entitlement that says, if I don't get what I want fast enough, I'm going to go somewhere else. A lot of that is built from the framework and the axiom of chasing money. If I need to go make more money, well, then I'm always going to be looking for the opportunity that's going to make me money faster. That, my friends, is an awful, terrible, absolutely disgraceful way to live your life. And I've seen the detriment of some people. I've seen it, how it can impact somebody's life negatively. And then how 3 or 4 years later, they finally figure out that they have to stop dabbling if they're going to be a master in anything. You can't be a master in something if you don't put in your Malcolm Gladwell, shout out to you, your 10,000 hour rule. If you don't put in 10,000 hours of something, you're never going to be a master. And if you're not a master, then you're never going to be able to impact people and have influence. And if you don't have impact and influence, guess what? You don't have any ability to create resource for yourself, aka money. Because money flows to those that make the most impact in the world. Money flows to those who make the most impact in the world. Money knows no bias. All it knows is to give you a reward for creating value for other people. So if you're creating value for other people, that is the fundamental axiom and from which you should live your life. And so that's why I say, don't go hopping around just looking for the new opportunity. That's definitely not how you do it all. Keep reinvesting and reinvesting and reinvesting and reinvesting and spending time and energy and effort on the thing, your gift, the thing that lights you up, the thing that gives you purpose, that gives you value. And then when you get sick of it, because you will, because everything gets boring, especially if you're a creative soul like I am, everything's going to get boring eventually. But what you have to realize is that the masters understand value and impact, and nothing ever gets boring to the masters, or at least boring enough. Because what they get lit up by, what I get lit up by, is saying the same old things to brand new people. Let me say that again. What I get lit up by is saying the same old things to brand new people, because they haven't heard it before. When you step into our gym and you step in for the first time, our BAs, our ops managers, our trainers, our franchise partners, our teams at the local level, we call them our people. What's up? Shout out to our people. We call them our people. When you come in, our people, they're going to show you value right away. They're gonna make sure that when you walk in the door that you get a name and a high five, you can hear the music bumping, that you feel like you bring energy to the room, that you're a part of the community. We're gonna help you become a member before money ever has to change hands. We're gonna treat you like you're a family member before the transaction ever happens. This is focus on impact, not focus on money. We're not just gonna come in and say, hey, do you want to sign a membership, do you? We're going to say, hey, you've added so much value to this community, and the way that you came in here today, what you told me about who you were and why you wanted to be here, hey, this is the place for you. You're going to be right here on this floor with us full time, and we're going to change your life. All right? And we're adding value to people just by letting them know that they're loved and they're wanted. And so my point is this. Jose, it takes consistent dedication. Consistent dedication. Not dabbling, not hopping from one thing to another. 100 hours here, 100 hours there, 100 hours over there. Focus all of your attention, all of your energy, all of your ideas, all of your effort on the 0.0000001% of the ideas that you have that light you up inside of here. And that is the formula. And when you do that, money will come. Success will come. The lake house that you want will come. You will start getting bestowed upon you value from other people in which that you are bestowing upon them. It is an interesting yet consistent pattern of human behavior all the way back to when? Reciprocity. You scratch my back and I'll scratch your back. You do for me, I feel an obligation to do for you. You add value to me, I'm going to add value back to you. And we've said this since day one in Burn Bootcamp. Our goal, it has never, ever, ever, ever been to go make $6 billion. Our goals had been, we want to wake up one Monday morning and we want to see 5 million people taking a burn boot camp workout on a Monday morning. That's what success means to us, because if we know you're there and there's 5 million of you there, then we know that that value has been felt and that ultimately we're changing the paradigm of what fitness globally really means. So consistent dedication, okay? Consistent dedication, and to do it all and to be the best within that regard, you then have to trust other people. And you have to build yourself a team. Build yourself a team of people that in your personal life can help you, okay? Mom, dad, babysitters, nannies, okay? Don't be afraid to ask for help, okay? People want to help you, and you're worth helping because you can add so much more value to the world, to your kids. Think about that. To your family. Think about that. When you ask for help from other people in your personal life, you get then to discover yourself. And when you discover yourself, look at what your children do. They watch you discovering yourselves, and in that they discover themselves because they emulate you, don't they? They emulate every single move you make. I know this very well because the first time Cameron ever said a cuss word, she had her headphones on, and I was talking passionately to Morgan. 5 minutes before, I said a cuss word, and I said it in front of the kids because I was passionate and I forgot they were there. Maybe 5 or 6 minutes goes by, we're on an airplane. Cam's got her poppy headphones on, and I can see her iPad dying, and I know what happens when we're on an airplane and the iPad dies. Parents, you can back me up on this one. Oh, hell's about to break loose, and T-minus 10, 9, and she rips the poppy headphones off, and she says, "Dad, my iPhone died." Baby, what'd you say? I said my iPhone died. Morgan, did you hear that? Kids are emulating you, aren't they? They're going to follow you, whether it's a good example or a negative example, okay? And not all negative examples manifest themselves the way that that one did right there. A lot of times it's just your self-communication. It's the way that you show up at your house when you're done with a hard day's work. It's the way that you language to yourself how you're feeling. Are you showing your emotions around your children outwardly? Are you getting frustrated in front of them? When you work a long, hard day, are you showing up with a smile on your face, being super happy, spinning your kids around, doing a helicopter, giving them a big hug, and never, ever, ever negotiating your hugs and your spins? Okay, or are you going to walk in with your head down, your briefcase in your hand, pissed off about something that happened at work, and bring that into the house? This is your choice. These are your decisions. This is how you do it all. Emotional intelligence, communication with yourself. Here's a book for you, okay? Emotional Intelligence 2.0. You can get it on Amazon. It's like a burgundy maroon cover. Emotional Intelligence 2.0 will teach you a lot of things that you need to know. And that one gets a little bit scientific, personality, psychology-y. If you want one that is a little bit more practical, this is the one right here. I'm going to show it to you right now. This book by Carol Dweck, Mindset. Okay, this is a great book for beginners because it talks about a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. This is one of the first books that I read. When I heard growth mindset, I'm like, yup, that's how you do it all. You have a growth mindset. Okay, the communication, the language patterns that exist between you and your ears and the ones that exist between your ears and the outer world, is that fixed, or are we looking at those communications through a lens of a growth mindset? All right, this is an amazing book. So Mindset by Carol Dweck or Emotional Intelligence 2.0 or both, okay? My goal this year is to read one book a month, but go really, 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 really deep on it. I'm talking about to where I tear that thing up because I don't want to dabble. I want to be a master, and I hope you want to be a master too. All right, Jose, that's really my question. I hope my answer to your question, how do you do it all? I hope that did you justice there in Albuquerque. Shout out to you, brother. And listen, I hope you guys had a ton of fun today. Whether you are on your journey to work, you're on a walk, walking the dog, whatever it is, I encourage you that if you get an opportunity when you're listening, especially to the Ask Devan Anything, anything where it's just Morgan solo on Mondays with Morgan, I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to understand and know that we're going to be like preaching, all right? So if you bring a pen or a pencil and you can listen to these or watch these episodes on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube, well, then you're going to get more out of it, because when you take the things I'm saying, which please do, this is my permission to take the things that I'm saying as your own language and start to incorporate them and take accountability and responsibility for them in your own life. And then from there, we're going to teach you how to teach other people. And until you teach other people how to be a master, or until you've mastered it, you can't teach other people how to be a master, right? And so I feel like that's why I'm in a position now after 15,889 camps or something like that, who's counting, that I'm able to now really help you from a high level. So thank you guys for being here. Subscribe on the podcast, flex on that subscribe button, all right? Flex on, oh, you got the Burn Bootcamp B right there for all of you who had never seen that before. Hey, I bleed it, bleed blue. Flex on that subscribe button, you guys. Talk to you soon. 2 claps on 2, 1, 2.